we need to talk about the new Lunar Beauty Palette. I want to start by saying one thing, which I think is necessary when you make this type of videos. Everything I'm going to say is not directly addressed to Medium UA. I love his content, it makes me gag. It is beautiful and it's so funny. I'm strictly going to be talking about the new Lunar Beauty Palette, which is the Nude Prism palette over here, and I'm going to give you my opinion and my experience with the palette. If your experience is different, if you love this, if you are finding yourself having this as your favorite, this is not against you. It's just I want to share, I want to use this channel to share my love for makeup. And my love for makeup sometimes is just something that doesn't end up being what I expected it to be or working as I wanted it to. So I'm going to be freely talking about that. If you're not about that life, if you are going to get offended, please don't watch this. So yeah, just know that everything in this video comes from a place of love for beauty and makeup, and I don't want to offend anyone. So if you're interested in knowing more about my experience with this and the reason why I think we're not going to get together so well in the near future, please keep on watching and remember to like, subscribe and leave a comment. It really helps me. But without further ado, let's start speaking about this. So I have it on my eyes today. I actually made some footage where you can see the application process. Overall, I think that what really got me about this palette ended up being the reason why I'm disliking it right now. But let me explain. So when this was introduced, it looked to me like a neutral palette heavily focused on pinks. And I think you can see where I'm coming from because the whole first row of mattes here tends to lean on pink and peach colors. So these are pinks and these are this apricot. Well, it's called apricot. This is sakura, so it's inspired by Japanese cherry blossoms. And there's a lot of pinks here on the lower row as well. Milk tea is more of a grayish cool tone pink, and Bloom for You is a very burgundy type of pink. I'm not counting the shimmers because the shimmers are great, and I'm going to say it right now, the shimmers are great. I don't have any complaints about them. They are so buttery smooth and they are so shiny. I feel like everybody's talking about these shimmers and I understand why. If I'm speaking a bit lower is because my boyfriend is literally sleeping in the next room. But yes, so yeah, I got this because I like neutral palettes and I also like pink. So I thought it was missing in my collection, something that really is pink but also neutral. And I like the fact that I had a few different options in case I wanted to go into the browns and into the peach. I like the array, the variety it promised. Now, I feel like the shades that really caught my eye are the most unique ones because I don't feel like there's a lot of palettes out there with this type of shade or this type of shade here. So the first time I tried this palette, I immediately went for these two shades because those were the two ones that I really wanted to appreciate and use. So I'm talking about Milk Tea and Cherry Blossom. I will swatch them here on my finger. As you can see, Milk Tea is very gray, Cherry Blossom is a pale pink. So what's the problem here? I think like the problem here is the pigment. There's not enough pigment. I'm going to show them swatched over here as well Like, judging from these swatches, you can see milk tea on the top looks, well, it looks pigmented, and cherry blossom, you can see already is lacking in that department a bit. So I wanted, my first look, I wanted it to be or just a smoky eye. Well, I'm not sure if you can call it smoky if it's not with a smoky color. I want a monochromatic look, let's say monochromatic, with cherry blossom. And then I wanted to blend cherry blossom on the lash line with the Moody, so go from pink to brown. It didn't work, so it didn't work because cherry blossom is really pale, and I'm talking like I am really pale. Like, usually very pale shades are very pigmented on me, so I almost have the opposite problem where usually transition colors are not transitions for me because they are too pigmented, and I have to be careful about the way I pick them up and I go about placing them. With cherry blossom, this didn't happen because, and I'm looking at the palette because I'm so sorry, I really wanted to like this palette, and I think I do. We don't get along that well, but yeah, like in the pan it promises to be pigmented. Like, I expect to have this color, or at least to be able to get to this color on my lid if I place it. However, it didn't matter how many times I tried to pack this on, it never got to this point. It always looked white on me, which makes me feel like, why do I need two shades like this? If you want this to be blending shade, I get it, but then why you have this as well? Because this and this on my eyes look the same. Like, they do the same thing. Like, this is a tiny bit more pink, but it doesn't reach this depth, this level. So my first approach with this was, I was very disappointed with the shade. So I thought, all right, let's just change the course of what I'm doing. I will try something else. No, because at that point I had so much of this cherry blossom shade packed on my eye. I couldn't get other shadows to blend on top of it. It's almost like there was too much eyeshadow on my eye for me to expect anything else to work on top, which is weird because this has never happened to me. Like, also other palettes that I had shades I needed to build up, I never got to the point where I couldn't add more because it wouldn't work. Like, I tried using Bloom For You, which is a very deep pigmented shade, on top of this. It just didn't get along very well, and it was really, this ended up looking very pale. It wasn't pigmented on my eye because there was so much of this cherry blossom. It was not a great experience. So I thought, let's give this another chance, and you will see in the footage. I actually tried recreating what I wanted to achieve when I was playing with this palette by myself. So I wanted to have a smoky eye made with milk tea as a base, because this is a very deep shade and I feel like it's very unique. As I said at the beginning, it's very unique. I've never seen it anywhere else. I wanted a smoky eye with this shade, and then a smoky liner and some mascara, and call it a day. But this shade simply is not pigmented enough, and again, I feel like this is a problem with these shades. Like, it seems to me like they are blending shades, like they are designed to be just to help in the shading, to help with blending, which is fine, but it's not what I'm looking for. And you can see I tried packing this shade on. It just doesn't build up. I used a very big brush, a packing brush, didn't work. It also what looked really weird to me is that the color, I was applying it a lot, so in the end it ended up being there, but on my lid it didn't stick. I don't know why, it looked paler, lighter on my lid than it did in the crease, even though I was heavily targeting the lid because I wanted to have to create a smoky eye. I decided to change my direction because that clearly wasn't working, and I applied Sakura, which is this shade here, on top on the lids because I wanted to have a different color for my smoky eye. That didn't work great as well because I feel like the milk tea, so the shade that was there underneath, made this shade look pale as well on the lid. Again, not in my crease, but on the lid. So again, I ended up finding myself with my lid looking lighter and the crease looking darker, which is not what I wanted because I wanted to achieve a monochromatic look. So I just went for a shimmer. I applied Sam, which is a shimmer, and the shimmers are beautiful, okay? These are beautiful. They are very full with pearls and pinpoints. They look great. So I applied Sam, and then I applied Bloom For You, which is the burgundy shade, and it worked really well. Strangely enough, this shade didn't give me the same problem as Cherry Blossom, so even though I had packed it on, it didn't matter. So Bloom, the darkest shade, still worked. And that's what I did today, and I have on my eyes. But the thing is, this isn't the look I wanted, and I feel like it's so important when you have a palette and a vision with your look that you are able to actually recreate it. Like, I'm bringing this here from Health. This is a $10 eyeshadow palette, and yeah, one shade is missing. Color story is there because it is supposed to inspire you, and that's what I was. I was inspired by this palette. It just didn't deliver on my personal inspiration. So when I look at this, I look at the shades that I don't have in my collection and that I can't wait to play with. So Cherry Blossom, Milk Tea, Bloom For You. Also this Sakura is beautiful. This is where I think it's my fault, and not my fault at the same time. If I have a color story, I want the palette to be able to deliver on the color story. If I want to pair, I don't know, a gray with this light shade, I need to be able to do that. I feel like these shades here in the Nude Prism palette, these shades that I'm attracted to, are meant to be blending shades, and they don't have enough pigment to end up looking as they do in the pan, which is what makes me not reach for this palette as I wished. And believe me, I wish I loved this because I love the layout, it inspires me, and again, there's so many shades that I think I don't have in my collection yet. I can't get this to work according to my preferences. I understand how other people are liking this. I'm not saying this is a dud. I'm saying for what I like, this isn't what I need. So I probably just keep using this as many wanted this to be. So just like a neutral palette and with tons of variety for blending shades. This one will make your look a bit cooler, but it definitely won't work, at least it didn't for me, for a smoky eye. And that's where we end up parting ways. Let me know if you have this palette, what's your opinion, how is it treating you? Did you find exactly what you were looking for? I certainly hope so, because you spent money on this, just like I have. And please let me know in the comments what you think. So that's it. I just wanted to speak my mind, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.